right, poets, let's talk about rappers and poetry. One thing I've mentioned a lot throughout the Poetry 101 series I've been working on is that music makes for great poetry. Now, this is a very blanket statement. I think that modern music makes for fine poetry. Music's very repetitive. Have you noticed that? It's a lot of, this is how we sing the verse, and this is how we sing the chorus. This is how we sing the verse, and this is how we sing the chorus. Now there's a bridge, and this is how we sing the chorus. You know who's not repetitive like that? Modern rap. At least not the rap I'm listening to, which is Forrest Frank, by the way. I didn't wear this shirt on purpose, but sometimes it works out like that. While there are a lot of modern songwriters whose music has a poetic feeling, a lot of modern music doesn't live up to that description. Modern music, in particular, keeps to a basic pattern and repeats a lot. Rappers are still poetic, baby. They're still doing some poetic things with their music. Rappers tend to stick to a certain flow. So there's a certain syllable count or line structure or something that makes you think of poetry in their music. However, rappers tend to break that scheme more than modern pop music does. They'll add another syllable to the end of a line or break the rhyme scheme for a reason, or they'll make it shorter so that they can enter into the chorus sooner. Or there's things that are overlapping, which isn't really something you can do in poetry, but I wanted to point it out because I like it. Everything they do helps them stick to the certain flow of the song, but the flow of the song isn't the most repetitive thing. You could skip to different parts of the song and it'll almost sound like a different song. In a way, the way that rappers write their songs is very Shakespearean. I mentioned this in my iambic pentameter video, but Shakespeare will break his pattern. He's very specific with when he breaks his pattern, but he'll break that pattern. He will make sure he is very uniform until you get to that one line where he just breaks it to show you, hey, there's something different with a character here, or I'm trying to tell you something through this poem. And I think that's really cool because rappers do the same thing, and they're almost like Shakespeare in that. Musical theater does this too. You'll have what sounds like a very basic musical theater song and is very predictable. You're liking the predictability. When all of a sudden, something breaks that pattern. Boy. In terms of poetry, there's two main things I think we can take away from rappers and the way that they write their music. First of all, it is okay to break the pattern, but you have to do it with a purpose. When a rapper is breaking the pattern, it's for a height or low or switch things up to keep you on your feet, but it's not like out of nowhere. It doesn't feel odd or out of place. And if it does feel odd or out of place, it's like cool. So watch how you break your schemes. I remember when I did my book, Anecdotes Regarding Adelaide, which may or may not be my least favorite child, the evermore of Abby Ham, if you will. But when I was writing it, I remember being like, everything has to have a rhyme scheme. I am a rhyme scheme girly when it comes to poetry. So A, B, or A, B, B, if you want to know what I'm talking about, there's a whole video on it. But there's certain poems and there's certain lines or ends of poems in Anecdotes Regarding Adelaide where I said, no, this isn't going to rhyme because she's being emotional right now. And I don't mean that in like a judging way because I am a very emotional person. I mean that in a, hey, look, this is an all-time high of emotion or an all-time low. She's feeling big things. Let's stop. And I think using that break of rhyme scheme, as in that break of iambic pentameter or what rappers do, is a very good way to like catch your audience's attention and say, hey, something's different. Pay attention. It's almost like subliminal in a way, even though it's not because like they could pick up on it. Secondly, it is important to realize that your stanzas don't all have to be the same. Rappers are not all the same. They're changed from verse to verse, from chorus to chorus. I mentioned this earlier. I think it's important to realize that you can change the thing that you have throughout your poem. So, for example, let's say you have let's say you have a basic song. So you have verse 2, chorus 2, bridge, chorus 3. Let's say all of the choruses have, I'm going to be obnoxious here, iambic pentameter, and the whole thing has a rhyme scheme. So now with your verses, you can choose different things. You can choose a different rhyme scheme from verse 1, from verse 2, which differs from the chorus. They each can be individual in that way, but because they all have a rhyme, they all are connected. Same thing. You could write different words for your chorus, but if it has the same syllable count or the same iambic pentameter structure, it's the same in a way. It's very clear that the whole thing is related, but it doesn't have to be the same thing all across the poem. This is something that can help us grow, especially if, the words we're saying kind of, they all stick to the same structure or they're telling a story in order. It's very clear that this is all related, but the way the poem is told changes. Again, this is not a popular thing. This is just something that I personally think I'm going to start doing. Anyways, that is my thoughts on rap music and how it relates to poetry. Again, the rap music I listen to is not actual rap. There is some actual Christian rappers I listen to, but like Forrest Frank is my go-to. And I get it. It's more pop than rap. Everyone boo. She doesn't know what rap is. She only knows Hamilton. It's fine. More from Poetry 101 over here. Subscribe over here. I'll see y'all in the next one.